to the Sarah Scoop Facebook Live show. I'm so excited because we have Anika from the Real World and the Challenge, who we've interviewed before on Sarah Scoop, and I'll make sure to link that to Anika so people can read up and see kind of how things have changed since we talked to you last time. First off, just tell us, what are you up to lately?
There's so many things. I think that it's been about a year, 2 years since the Real World and about a year since the Challenge. So since then, I've been just working on my personal brand. I've moved from New York City to Los Angeles. I'm about to go traveling abroad. So a lot of things, a lot of exciting things for sure.
That's awesome. So what made you do the move from New York to LA?
I just wanted to change, and I've been in New York for honestly, basically my whole life. And I just wanted something that was different. And I thought that LA was the best place to start over. I know that everyone says once you've been on the Real World, you're going to go on LA, you're going to go to LA. But you know what? I've already planned to go to LA, guys. So that was already something that was already in the books, and the world actually interrupted it. So, I just I need some warm weather. The warm weather was definitely a good thing. So I was happy to get out of the cold for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I can agree to that. So let's kind of go back a little bit for people that maybe didn't follow your journey at the very beginning. What inspired you to even go on the Real World?
So, I always, loved being in front of the camera, and I wanted a different experience. I just randomly one day was like, you know what? I have a brand. I want to get more eyes on my brand. How do I do that? And the Real World was definitely something that just kind of popped out of nowhere. I didn't even know it existed still at that point, to be honest with you. I just thought that I just went on MTV.com and was going to sign up for any reality TV show that was available. And the Real World was casting. So I just sent in my information, and, it just started going from there. And it was a long process.
And I actually love that, because I think a lot of people go on shows and then they start a brand. You already had your brand established, and then you went on the show. So how was that being an entrepreneur? What's your backstory on that?
I started my own brand. It's called Ask Anika. I started that in 2014, and it started as an advice blog. And I always just was good at giving advice and kind of being there for my friends. So it kind of started with that. And then it kind of grew to saying, how can I make money off of this? I don't want to work for anybody anymore. So it just kind of came with the more eyes and the more sponsors you have with your product, whatever it may be, you just kind of need more of a presence. And that's kind of how I got from building a brand to the Real World. So it was just kind of how can I get more people interested in what I do, which is lifestyle advice, cooking, eating, anything lifestyle based.
So what does a typical day look like for you then? Because you're still running your business, correct?
Yes, I am still running my business. I have my hands on a lot of different things. I'm working on an app, actually, a travel app. So I'm going to be doing a lot of abroad international travel. So I'm excited for that. And I actually just recently started a new career as a matchmaker. So that should be really exciting. So if anybody's out there looking for love, I may not be Are You the One, but I may be able to help you find somebody. So I will have that. I will be doing that now as well. And then, of course, just continuing to work on my own brand, which is traveling and, taping and, just basically just doing just different things. A typical day for me, there is no typical day. Sometimes I wake up and I may be in another country. Sometimes I wake up and I don't have to do anything at all, and I can stay in my pajamas all day. Sometimes, I wake up and I have meetings back to back. And I think that's the way I want to live my life, at least for the next 5 years or so. Yeah.
So, Tara is asking, did you run your business while you were on the Real World? Were you able to keep up with it?
You know what? It's actually really funny because the Real World, reality TV in general, they only show a good, I would say, 17% of 100 of the things that actually happen. So I unfortunately feel like they did not show a lot of me and my background as a character anyway. So there were times when I would actually get people in the house together and actually do talk shows in the house, and we would tape it, and I would actually make a talk show, and it was really fun, and people loved it, but apparently it never made footage, and apparently I never got a copy. So, things like that. I definitely did try to run my business as much as I could, or state my brand as much as I could while being in the house. But I think that they expect people to kind of go in and just like live their lives, not be focused on work. And I mean, I think I was definitely something different that they didn't expect at all.
So going into that, I know you said you just kind of looked to see what was out there. You were like, I'm going to do reality TV. You started applying. So you go from that to being filmed all the time. Like, what were the challenges and the exciting parts of having the cameras around you all the time?
Well, it's funny because everyone always asks, what was it like having the cameras on you all the time? Was it normal? Was it weird? And honestly, it wasn't really weird for me. I mean, the first day, it's kind of surreal of an experience knowing that everything you're doing could possibly end up on TV. But the general feeling of actually waking up and having a camera in your face, I liked it. I could live like that every day. I mean, I like people watching me. I think I'm interesting as hell. So, I mean, shit, I have cameras in my house every single day. I can live like that for sure. I think it just keeps it interesting. And I think it's also cool because I think that I learned a lot about myself from even the little snippets that they gave me. I learned a lot about myself and maybe how I portrayed myself in a certain scene. And like how it looked to other people. You learn a lot about yourself watching yourself. And I love like self-reflection. So I think taping yourself is always a great fun thing to watch.
So you mentioned that there was some things that they didn't show. Was there anything that you just thought was hilarious that didn't make it to the screen?
There's so many things. I honestly, I watched it. And as I was watching, I actually stopped watching the show probably like halfway through because I was just kind of like I think about 70% of the episodes were stuck in a 2-week time frame. So I was just kind of like, I don't even remember this experience. But, there was a lot of funny things. I mean, they show me and Will not really interacting at all. But, there were definitely blowouts for sure. And I'm sure people probably would have thought it was hilarious. Me and Tia got in an argument over orange juice. And, that was never shown. But I'm sure people would have thought that was hilarious. So, I mean, like, there was a lot of different things that, we definitely as a cast looked back on and was like, wow, why wasn't this shown? But I mean, I think that they edit as it comes out. And I mean, maybe the storyline went in a different way they didn't expect. I'm not sure. But there definitely was a lot of funny and crazier moments that were not shown.
So you went, for people that don't know, I mean, I think most people do, because you had a great time on the challenge. So you went from the real world to the challenge. What made you decide you were ready for the challenge?
Honestly, I came home and then it was 3 days later. I was kind of still adjusting to regular life and they just called me. So I just kind of was like, I already missed like the crazy life. So why not go right? I wasn't even used to the regular life again. So the fact that they called me immediately, I was like, this is great. So, they called me up and I just said, okay. I didn't even think about it. I didn't have like two thoughts. I didn't train. There was no time. It was just kind of like 3 days home and then back out there. So I don't think it was kind of like being ready for it. I think it was just kind of like I was ready to be back in front of the camera. So I was just kind of like, yeah, new experience.
Alana did ask, how did you prepare to go on the challenge? But I know you said you didn't have much time. So what would you do then if you were to go on the challenge again? How would you prepare?
Well, when it comes to preparing for the challenge, you see the people that are on the challenge and they actually are, they work out. A lot of them are into like, having fitness plans and eating healthy and like, that's good for them. And I think that that's great. But like, it's definitely a certain type of demographic of people, they like to work out. They like to do that stuff. I'm a foodie. I like to sit and like eat food and stuff my face and go and eat at Italian restaurants and like not work out. And like, if I do, it's just to tone. It's not really to like be athletic. Now, I do think that you don't just need athletic skills to go far in the challenge. I think that a lot of it can, be based off of your smarts as well. So I think it just kind of depends on what hand you're dealt at the time, and what I guess eliminations you're dealt with. But I think definitely just being physically fit and having endurance is the best way to prepare, and also be prepared to live with a whole bunch of crazy people.
So how is that? Like, what's the living situation like when you get there?
Well, unfortunately, usually I was actually kind of excited to go to the challenge because from what I have seen before, the whole house is very expensive. It's like, a big mansion and everything. And I unfortunately got stuck on the season of Invasion where I thought I was going to a mansion and I was so ready. And then we ended up on the beach and I was like, wow, it's going to be like a beach mansion. This is so epic. And then we keep on walking after I already like splashed in the water and my lashes are falling off. And it was already, I was just like, you know what? I don't even care about the camera. I'm going to go straight to the mansion bathroom and like, you know, redo my hair and my makeup and everything. And then we turn a corner and we're just like living outside. So I unfortunately got eliminated with Theo before we were actually able to go into the mansion. So I never got to experience that. But definitely, like I would definitely say like that would be like the benefit of going on the challenge instead of the real world for sure. Because, you know, living in the challenge, I actually feel like everyone is used to the cameras. They're used to that experience. So everyone just kind of is maybe more like themselves, but just kind of more into the game. But on the real world, it's a whole bunch of newbies. No one really knows what it's like. So I think that there was a lot of fakeness that was happening. A lot of like, you know, people not knowing how to react to being in front of the camera because it was something they've never experienced before.
People are asking about like other shows you'd want to do or things like that. Like there's someone mentioned The Bachelor or other TV shows and different things. Like is another type of show something you're interested in doing?
I would do more reality TV, but it would have to be very specific into what I would be doing. People always ask me, would you do the challenge again? Would you do the challenge again? And I always say no. I always say I wouldn't. But you know what? I think I would if the timing was perfect. I'm very into timing. So I feel like if the timing was perfect and I felt like it was the right time to go back and do it, I would do it. But you know, generally speaking, no, that's not what I want to do. But I would definitely go on like, you know, The Bachelor, but only if I was like the Bachelorette. I'm not trying to go, you know, one man with a whole bunch of chicks. That's not my style. So, I mean, if I'm the main one and the whole guys are chasing after me, of course, sign me up. I'm so down for that. But, you know, if it's not like a even playing field, I'm not interested.
Okay, so going off of that, Kiana asked earlier, how do you become a matchmaker? So how did you get into that? Because you mentioned earlier in our conversation that you were starting a matchmaking business.
Yeah, so I'm actually not starting a matchmaking business. I actually am working with a matchmaking company, and the company is called Talkify. And you can go and, you know, submit your resume, and you just go through an intensive you know, interview process. They see if you're someone who's able to, you know, help people with their love life, see if you're someone who's able to give advice, and if you're able to help mentor, if you're social, you know, if you're able to be an entrepreneur. And those are some of the skills that they're looking for when it comes to being a matchmaker. But there's so many different companies, you know, there's 3-Day Rule, there's Coffee Meets Bagel. There's a lot of ways, or you can just be a personal matchmaker for your friends if you feel like, you know, you're good at matchmaking your friends. But I think that if you're looking to do it professionally, there are a lot of different companies that are looking for matchmakers. You just have to honestly just be a person who's willing to get out there and help people, I guess, find love. And if you know, go on Google, I'm sure you can find some openings in your area.
There you go. That's good. Is that what you hope to continue doing then? Kind of like that's your goal? With your advice, work with people for a long time?
For me, that's not a goal of mine, but it's definitely an additional skill that I can add to the fact that I do advice and I do Ask Anika, and I think it's just more of an additional certification of what I do. So, eventually I'm going to want to, do real estate or something like that. And then, that's not a passion, but it'll be also good to know that I can, create an app, create a business, help you find love, also help you get a house. So I just like to call myself a jack of all trades. I like to just have a whole bunch of skills. So once, a few years in this, and then I'll pick a new thing to kind of try to master.
So going off of Ask Anika, can people write in to ask you questions? Like, is there somewhere that they can email you? What's the best way that if someone watching this or watches it later wants to ask you a question or get your advice, how should they go about that?
Yes. So a lot of people actually do go through my Instagram. I actually do get a lot of questions through my Instagram. They DM me. And a lot of them are personal questions, relationship questions, travel or career. And I can help and answer all, but you can also go to my website, which is askanika.com, and then just submit an info email through there, and I can respond to you via email. I'm really good about getting back to people, and all of the responses are very in depth. So whether you DM me on Instagram or whether you go to askanika.com and submit an email, they all will be forwarded to me if it's an actual question for advice, and I can get back to you.
So then, I mean, now you're able to reach so many people, like you said, like it was kind of part of, your intention was to go on the show and put yourself out there. How has it been for you though? Like, I know with all the good press or good like publicity and good people that are reaching out to you, but then what advice do you have for people that have to deal with like negative?
Weirdly enough, I haven't really gotten a lot of negativity from, the reality world. I think the only negative comments I've ever gotten were, I guess people were upset that I went on the challenge because they thought I was tiny. And then they were like, why not give it to someone who's bigger, who can last longer? But the funny thing is if you watched me on the challenge, you realize that my size had nothing to do with my elimination. And, clearly size does not matter when it comes to what we were doing. So I think that, it definitely gave a lot of people more respect for me watching the challenge because it got a chance for people to actually see my actual personality. I think that Real World unfortunately ripped me of that. But, I think that for the most part, they were both great experiences. And, I think that I learned a lot about myself. And I think that honestly, everyone should give themselves a chance to do something really crazy in their life, whether that be, be a matchmaker or honestly go on reality TV or, travel the world. I think the whole point of my brand is to just encourage people to do, what they want to do on their own terms when they want to do it.
And I think it's so great that we have you as a guest today because constantly people, like I've interviewed many people from like reality shows, and a lot of times their comments are like, what's your advice for applying for the show or getting on the show? And we have the perfect advice person today to maybe you can like give advice to those people that want to kind of follow in your footsteps of giving reality TV a try.
Well, when it comes to, if you want to give reality TV a try, I would definitely say, definitely consider it first. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, whether it be, how you want to be portrayed, knowing that you don't actually have full creative control over what goes out. So, you may go into the situation thinking that you're going to come off a certain way. You may be edited a completely different way. So basically be prepared to have whatever you put out there manipulated, but, and just have a great time and just, I think that when it comes to applying, I think there's so many ways. Google is everybody's best friend. I'm a self-teacher. I teach myself everything. So if you're looking for a casting call, find out what show you want to be on, type it into Google, and then put casting call at the end of it and put the year. And most likely you'll be able to find where they're going to be casting next. MTV.com, is a great place to start. VH1, any place where you see any reality TV shows. And then from then on, I would definitely say just be very honest in your answers and, don't pretend to be someone you're not, but be yourself on a lot of sugar. So basically, just kind of be yourself in your most energetic self, but definitely be your genuine self because they can tell. You go through a lot of series of interviews and a lot of questions, and when they start to see cracks in your personality, they can definitely pull it out, and that may hurt your chances.
Okay, so going off of that, Kiana wants to know, what is something you learned from being on reality TV that you didn't expect to learn about yourself or life or anything?
I think that what I expected to learn, I definitely consider myself a very social, friendly person, but I think that, when I looked back on it, I thought that was helping protect my image, and I think that, in return, it was also kind of, I was using it as a shell. So it was harder for people to get to know the more personal me because I was kind of using the very energetic, happy, personality trait to kind of help myself so that, however I would be edited, it would be fine. But then in result, people only got a very one-sided version of me and then not the real side. So I think that if anything, I learned to be a little bit more, I guess, more open with my emotions, and not so, closed off or, feel so I have to be so picture perfect. So I definitely learned to be more real for sure.
Oh, that's great. Earlier, I missed this question earlier. I know that people were really interested about your matchmaking and your love life. We must have some single people watching this.
I mean, matchmaking is honestly very interesting. I think that, you know, there's always, I mean, it's about love. I mean, in everyone, regardless of your demographic, you're going to have interest in it.
So going back to the challenge, Maddie was wondering if you've been watching, what do you think about this season of the challenge?
I have not been watching all of the episodes. I started watching like the first few, like the first 3, and I like that they incorporated people from other shows. I know everyone's so against it, but I mean, I actually like it. I think it adds a different flair, and I mean, I'm a girl who likes new things and I like change, so I think why not switch it up, change it up. But with that being said, you know, the similar faces that you see from like the MTV side, switch those up too. So I think that, you know, I understand people like the stability. They like to see the same characters. People have favorites. But I think that the whole reason you got those favorites is because, you know, you were able to see new people. So I think that, you know, I love the idea of new characters, but keep on switching it up. You know, we like new things.
Absolutely. What else we missed here? Because I know we only have a few more minutes. You have such great advice. Well, Maddie had one more that's recent. So what can we expect to see from you in the future?
In the future, like I said, I'm working on an app, so expect that out before the end of the year. So I'm really excited about that.
And is that app something like I know apps take a really long time to launch, so I'm sure this is like a very passionate project. Can you tell us like what it's about, or is it kind of like secret until
I mean, there's still a lot of work in it, so I can't tell that much, but it is travel based, and you guys will kind of get more hints of what it is, you know, throughout the year when I start to drop more videos. But it is travel based. It will be in the App Store, and that's all I can really say now. But there's a lot of exciting things to come up when it comes to that. But other than the app, of course, you know, expect a lot of travel from me. Expect a lot of, honestly, I would say traveling is the big thing because, you know, I'm going to Bali for a month in April, and then from there, hopefully Europe, and then from there, hopefully Asia. So I think a lot of, you know, international travel, you know, and hopefully, you know, reality TV in the future if the right opportunity comes along. So
and I see a lot of people do, like, they don't want to go travel by themselves. Do you travel alone, or do you travel in a group? Like, are you part of planned trips? Like, what's your, I mean, I guess I can keep saying, what's your advice for going out there?
So, you know, I think that everyone has, again, like my whole brand is about, you know, doing what you want on your own terms when you want to do it. And I think that, you know, people are so scared to, you know, if you're not in a relationship or if you don't have a friend to travel with at the same time, you know, people don't want to travel or they wait at the wrong time. So for me, I think, you know, if you want to go somewhere, you know, make the accommodations. There's so many people in the world that are solo travelers. It's a whole actual demographic of people that, you know, that travel solo, whether they be like solo female travelers or solo male travelers. There's so many over the world. There's so many blogs and, you know, ways to meet people. And the thing is that, you know, you're more approachable when you're alone. And if, you know, if you feel like you're smart and you have experience traveling, I think that everyone should definitely, you know, make the jump and make the experience. And then once you go abroad, you're going to meet people, and then you will honestly not be alone. So, you know, I think it's just more so like making the leap from your hometown alone. But once you're abroad, you meet people. And I've heard that from a lot of people. And you guys will see how I make friends abroad because I'll be blogging it all. So
people are asking about your Bali trip. They're saying they always wanted to go there. So many people have been going. So can you tell us what you're going to be doing when you're there?
Yes. So I'm so excited to go to Bali, Indonesia. So I'm going to be there for a month, and I am going alone, meaning I am leaving LA by myself, and I have no idea, you know, I don't know any of the people out there personally, but it's a work travel trip. So basically there's a group of girls out there that just travel abroad, and, you know, they just, you know, they do their own businesses. They're all these people who can work remotely, and, you know, we just travel together, and, you know, we just have a station in Bali, and then we just kind of explore and just do different excursions and just do it for a month. And we do yoga, you know, we do snorkeling, we explore, we do different cooking classes. So it's really just about just going abroad, and whoever is able to work remotely, we just, for all the people who want to just do it when they want, we just all do it together. So that's, like I said, you know, you may leave alone, but you end up meeting friends.
Wow, that's awesome. So I know we just have a couple of minutes left, which thank you. You've given everyone such great advice today. And figure I'll have you end with, like, what would you tell people? Like, you're such an adventurous person who's, you know, just kind of going for life. So everyone that's kind of watching your journey and looking to you for advice on what they should do, what message would you give them?
You know, I would say that life is scary as hell, and you know, there's nothing you can do to make it like less scary other than just jump freaking full face forward or feet forward and just say fuck it and just do it. Because the thing is like, you know, life, it's so crazy and it's getting crazier every day. So the only thing you can try to do is ride the crazy wave. They always say if you're going through a crowd at a party, you know, don't try to just walk through, you dance through the crowd, and that's the only way you'll get through it. So, you know, my advice is just to, you know, dream big, and all those dreams are attainable. Just try and be consistent. And, you know, no one can tell you can't do something, because, I mean, look, you know, I'm sure people said that, you know, we couldn't have computers or we couldn't have iPhones, but look what we're doing right now. So I think anything is possible. So just do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You've been such a wonderful guest.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great time.